In the dead of winter, 47 masterless samurai marched through the snow with death in their eyes. They carried no banners, no heralds, only blades hidden beneath straw coats. When the people of Edo awoke that night, they whispered in shock, "The Ronin have come." What followed was one of the most famous acts of loyalty and vengeance in all of Japan, a true story that blurred the line between honor and crime, justice and revenge. This is the legend of the 47 Ronin. The tale began years earlier with Lord Asano Naganori, a young daimyo, a feudal lord, summoned to the capital to serve the shogun. His duty was to entertain and host imperial envoys, a task steeped in rigid etiquette. To guide him, the shogun appointed an official named Kira Yashinaka, a man notorious for his greed. Kira expected lavish gifts in return for his instruction, but Asano, earnest and honorable, refused to bribe him. Insult turned to insult. Kira belittled him in front of others, mocking his ignorance of court manners. At first, Asano endured the humiliation. But one day inside Edo Castle, Kira pushed too far. With words sharp enough to draw blood, he provoked Asano until the young lord's hand reached for his short sword. In a moment of fury, Asano slashed at Kira, wounding him but not killing him. The act was a grave crime. No blood could be shed within the shogun's palace. The judgment was swift and absolute. Asano was ordered to commit seppuku, ritual suicide, that very same day. The sentence left his clan ruined, their lands confiscated, their retainers dismissed. Overnight, Asano's loyal samurai became Ronin, masterless men without purpose. Most drifted away, defeated. But one, Oishi Kuranasuke, Asano's chief retainer, refused to let the injustice stand. He believed Kira had engineered Asano's downfall. If the law would not punish Kira, then vengeance must. Yet Oishi knew Kira expected retaliation. For months, Kira fortified his mansion, surrounding himself with guards, spies, and traps. Any sign of open plotting would mean failure. So Oishi began a campaign of deception. He scattered his comrades. Some took on humble trades, carpenters, merchants, even beggars. Oishi himself descended into a life of apparent disgrace. He left Kyoto for Edo, drank heavily, wandered the pleasure quarters, and made himself seem a broken man. Kira's spies reported back with scorn, the once loyal retainer had abandoned all thought of revenge. The trap was working. Behind the mask of ruin, Oishi and the Ronin prepared in secret. They built weapons disguised as farming tools. They mapped Kira's mansion in the dark, measuring walls and gates. They swore oaths of silence and patience. For nearly 2 years, they waited, 2 years of humiliation, poverty, and suspicion, until the night finally came. On the 14th day of the 12th month, in the bitter cold of 1703, snow blanketed Edo. Kira and his household slept soundly, believing the danger long past. Just before dawn, the Ronin struck. They divided into 2 groups, one storming the front, the other climbing from the rear. With drums beating and voices shouting their lord's name, they smashed through gates and cut down guards. The fighting was fierce but disciplined. The Ronin avoided killing innocents. They focused only on Kira's retainers, driving them back room by room. Neighbors gathered outside, watching in awe. The law forbade vengeance, yet here were samurai risking everything for honor. For nearly 2 hours the clash rang through the streets. Then silence fell. The Ronin searched every corner of the mansion until they found a man trembling in a hidden storage shed. He claimed to be a servant, but Oishi knew the truth. It was Kira himself. Dragged before the leader, he cowered, speechless. Oishi knelt and offered him a chance to die as a samurai, to commit seppuku, as Lord Asano had been forced to do. But Kira shook his head, unable to face the blade. With no other choice, the Ronin executed him swiftly. They cut off his head and wrapped it in cloth. Then, in the first pale light of dawn, they marched through the snow, their grim prize in hand. People lined the streets in silence as the 47 made their way to Sengakuji Temple. There, they washed Kira's head at the well, laid it upon Lord Asano's grave, and bowed deeply. Their vengeance was complete. But they knew what awaited them. In killing Kira, they had broken the shogun's law. Soon after, they surrendered themselves. The nation buzzed with debate. Some condemned them as criminals. Others praised them as the highest example of loyalty. The shogun himself faced a dilemma: if he punished them as common murderers, he would insult their loyalty; if he spared them, he would undermine the law. In the end, he ordered the Ronin to die by seppuku, granting them the dignity of a samurai's death. One by one, each man knelt, composed a final poem, and drove the blade into his stomach. 46 Ronin followed their master into death that winter. One was spared, a youth too young to join the final assault, left behind to tell their story. They were buried together beside Lord Asano, their graves standing in neat rows. Even today, Sengakuji Temple remains a place of pilgrimage, where visitors bow before the tombs of the 47 Ronin. The story spread quickly, not only across Japan but through the centuries. It became a legend retold in countless plays, books, and films. Some saw it as the purest expression of Bushido, the way of the warrior. Others saw a warning about the dangers of vengeance and blind loyalty. Yet all agreed on one thing: no tale better captured the tension between law and honor, between duty to the state and duty to one's master. Over 300 years later, the snow of that night is gone, but the footsteps of 47 Ronin still echo in the minds of those who hear their tale. They were men caught between justice and crime, loyalty and rebellion, yet they chose their path without hesitation. In the end, they found immortality, not in life, but in legend. Thank you for watching Samurai Tales. If you enjoyed this story of the 47 Ronin, be sure to subscribe for more epic legends of honor, mystery, and the warriors of Japan.